The cell door sealed with a soft hiss. Gravity cut out instantly. The human floated, and the observation chamber erupted in laughter. "He won't even be able to stand," one alien researcher scoffed. "Take gravity away and he becomes helpless," another agreed. Inside the glass-walled zero-G chamber, the human slowly spun once, then stopped himself with a fingertip against the wall. He didn't panic. He smiled. His name was Marcus Hale, medium height, compact build. He wasn't bulky, not fragile either. His was the kind of body shaped by endurance drills and long deployments rather than genetic enhancement. His black hair was cropped short, regulation style, and a thin scar cut cleanly through one eyebrow, a permanent reminder of some past conflict. They had stripped him down deliberately. No mag boots, no stabilizers, certainly no weapons. All he wore was a sleeveless gray prisoner suit, thin enough to show the old knots in his muscles and the newer, darker bruises. His hands were bare. His feet floated freely, unbound. The aliens watching him, tall, angular Varelians with elongated skulls and skin as smooth as an insect's carapace, considered gravity a fundamental necessity for combat. They held a core belief that balance required ground, that strength required a surface to push against. To them, humans were ground creatures bound by the very force that held their planet together. They were, in this assumption, profoundly wrong. From her control console, Dr. Zalreth adjusted the glowing holo display. "Begin Phase 1, she ordered, her voice calm and clinical. "Disorientation test." The chamber lights dimmed to a low twilight. Then rotational force kicked in suddenly, violently, spinning Marcus end over end. His stomach lurched. His vision blurred into streaks of gray and faint light. In the observation room, the Varelian scientists leaned forward, their multifaceted eyes wide with eager anticipation, waiting for the inevitable panic and failure. But Marcus did something completely unexpected. He stopped fighting the spin. Instead of flailing, he tucked his arms in close, aligned his body with the rotational axis, and began to control the spin, using its momentum instead of resisting it. He turned a chaotic tumble into a controlled pirouette. When the rotation finally began to slow, he simply extended one arm and gently tapped the wall. He stabilized. His breathing was steady, his expression focused. Dr. Zalreth frowned, a subtle twitch of her mandibles. "Interesting," she muttered, more to herself than to anyone else in the room. This wasn't the reaction their models had predicted. "Proceed to Phase 2, she commanded, her tone now lacking its earlier confidence. "Deploy the drones." 3 combat drones activated inside the chamber. They were smooth, spherical machines, each equipped with tiny directional thrusters and crackling stun lances. "He has no surfaces, no leverage," one of the analysts observed, trying to reassure himself. "He cannot maneuver." The drones lunged forward in a coordinated attack pattern, but Marcus kicked off the wall. Not hard, just enough to give him a slow, deliberate vector. He let the first drone overshoot completely, its targeting computer unable to predict such a subtle change in his angle. The second drone wasn't so clumsy. Its stun arc grazed his shoulder. A brilliant flash of pain flared through his nerves. He grunted, but it was a sound of adjustment, not agony. He reached out and grabbed a floating maintenance panel that had been torn loose earlier in his capture. He didn't throw it. That would have sent him flying in the opposite direction. Instead, he simply released it at the perfect moment, a tiny action that altered his own trajectory just enough. The drones tried to recalculate, They were too late. Marcus slammed into the third drone feet first, using its own mass against it. He twisted his body, riding the recoil like a wave, and used that new momentum to smash the second drone into the chamber wall. The first drone, now alone, fired its lance wildly. Marcus caught it, bare-handed. Electricity surged through him, burning his palms raw. He screamed, a raw, primal sound that echoed in the silent observation chamber. But he didn't let go. He held on as the drone's internal systems fought against the feedback loop, until it finally shorted out with a pathetic fizzle. Silence filled the chamber. There was no laughter this time, only the quiet hum of the life support systems. "That's impossible," one of the observers whispered, the sound barely audible. Dr. Zalreth's mandibles tightened until they clicked. Humans evolved under constant crushing gravity. Removing it should cripple him, it's fundamental physics. "Then why isn't it?" another asked, the question hanging in the sterile air. Inside the chamber, Marcus flexed his burned fingers, slowly testing the damage. He floated upright, his hands clasped behind his back, as calm and composed as a soldier standing at ease on a parade ground. He looked straight through the observation window, his gaze meeting Dr. Zalreth's. He wasn't angry. He was assessing them. "Escalate," Dr. Zalreth ordered, her voice sharp with frustration. "Phase 3, full environmental pressure." The chamber temperature dropped sharply, frosting the inner walls. Oxygen levels began to fluctuate unpredictably. Sudden, powerful gusts of air simulated microbursts, designed to throw him off balance. Marcus's lips went pale, his breath coming in faster, shallower puffs. But his movements became even more efficient. He stopped wasting motion entirely. Every gesture was minimal, precise. He anchored himself with fingertips with his toes, even letting his short hair brush against surfaces to measure his drift and position. Another drone entered the chamber. This one was heavier, armored, a more formidable model. Marcus didn't rush it. He waited. He became a patient predator in an environment where he was supposedly the prey. The drone fired a powerful plasma blast. Marcus spun sideways, letting the concussive force of the blast push him instead of hitting him directly. He used the attack as a means of propulsion. As he drifted, he grabbed a loose power cable, wrapped it around the drone's chassis mid-pass, and pulled with all his might. The drone's thrusters fought against the tether, whining at maximum power. Marcus held on. His muscles burned with lactic acid. Old injuries screamed in protest, but humans had learned something profound on orbital stations, in the wreckage of broken ships and during desperate spacewalks in the void. Endurance always beats elegance. Grit outlasts design. With a final grinding groan, the drone powered down. The observers stood in stunned, absolute silence. It was a junior analyst who finally whispered the truth none of them wanted to hear. Humans. They don't need gravity to fight. Dr. Zalreth stared at the data streams flowing across her display. His reaction time was improving. His energy expenditure was decreasing. His pain response, it was being compartmentalized, ignored. "He's adapting," she said quietly, almost in awe. "No," the analyst corrected her, his voice firm. "He isn't adapting. He already knows this environment. This is home turf for them." For a final, desperate test, they brought in a live Virelian enforcer. He was armored, confident, and equipped with magnetic claws that allowed him to anchor to any surface, giving him a simulated gravity advantage. The enforcer sneered over the open comms channel. "You float like debris, human." Marcus's voice was calm, steady. "So do you." The fight was brutally short, not because Marcus was stronger, but because he understood something the enforcer didn't. In Zero-G, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It is a world of consequences. The enforcer overextended, lunging with a force that would have been devastating on the ground. Marcus didn't try to block it, he simply redirected it. He rotated, used the enforcer's own mass and the tension in his magnetic tethers against him. One controlled, precise strike to the helmet joint, and it was over. The enforcer drifted unconscious. The chamber went dead silent. The experiment was over. Later, as guards reactivated the artificial gravity and dragged a weary Marcus away, Dr. Zalreth finally spoke through the comms. "We believed removing gravity would remove your greatest advantage." Marcus paused, looking at her through the thick glass of the chamber door. "You thought gravity made us strong," he said, his voice even. She tilted her elongated head, a gesture of confusion. "Doesn't it?" Marcus smiled, a tired, burned, but completely unbroken smile. "No," he replied, the truth of it echoing in the now silent facility. "It just trained us." Across the entire Varelian installation, military protocols were being hastily rewritten. Human prisoners were no longer to be placed in Zero-G holding cells. Not because it was dangerous for them, but because it wasn't dangerous enough. And the official report on the incident, filed under the highest security clearance, ended with a single stark warning. Never assume humans need the ground to stand their ground. Because when you take gravity away, you don't weaken them, you free them. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and let us know what you think in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.